So when it comes to reparations, there is just no money. There's no way we can do it without destroying the economy. We don't know where the money's going to come from. We don't know who it's going to go to. It would just be a disaster. We can't even think about it. Not cash payments, especially. There's no way we can do that. But when it comes to illegals, man, cut the check, man. Blank check for anybody and everybody, as long as they're not FBA.
The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and my sisters. I have a special announcement today. All right. Well, I have an announcement. I want to thank you guys. We're a little bit behind schedule, has some technical issues, but ever since, and I want you guys to keep this in mind, every time we meet like a good goal, there's always like a little technical bug. It's always like a little technical issue, like a little technical error or problem or something like that. Well, just on the For the Culture channel, we just reached 6,000 subscribers. Now we got technical problems we've never had before. Very suspicious, but it's okay. On here, technical issues. We popping on here, very suspicious. It's fine. It's fine. Because guess what? I want you guys to guess. They're not going to stop anything. Okay? They won't. They can't do it. They don't have it in them. They cannot do that. All right? They can't stop anything. We're going to get started. Doesn't matter if we're late. I don't care if we have to come on midnight. Don't matter. We're going to get started. All right? So as we're getting started, I got to play the copyright disclaimer to establish to YouTube that everything we play thus forth will be protected under the guise of fair use. All right. And as I'm doing that, what I would greatly appreciate for you all to do is to hit that like button, subscribe button, share button, comment button, all that stuff. Hit all of the buttons. Just mass press buttons. All right. Y'all do that. I'll be right back. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, all right. I want to say something. Can we do a little reminder? Can we just do a little reminder? Let's do a little reminder. I want to remind you guys that we've been pushing for reparations for the big reparations push really came with the 2020 election. It was really like a no tangibles, no vote 2020. So this has been going on from then. But to be totally honest, the reparations conversation or the tangibles conversation that kind of went into the reparations thing, even though there's always been an underground reparations movement, we have to understand our history with this. It's really been around the 2018, 2019 year. And it's really been building up really around that 2019 year up until now. Okay. It's been a consistent movement for reparations from then. And it's just been growing, and more people are becoming more politically sophisticated. More people are starting to understand the severity of reparations, the necessity of reparations, all of that stuff. All right. Now, the Democratic shills have been trying to gaslight us by telling us, well, we just don't understand how politics work. We just don't get that. We don't understand how it's going to work. We don't understand where it's gonna come from, all of that stuff. We don't understand that. So we've been pushing our hardest, our damnedest. We even had a reparations rally. Do you guys remember that? The reparations rally right before the midterms of the Biden administration. Right before the midterms of the Biden administration, we were gaslit, okay, and shamed and attacked by the Democratic shills. I already played the copyright disclaimer. I don't have to play it again. But remember this. I want you guys to remember this.
Run it down the line, folks. All of those things are going to happen. So if y'all think I'm joking, if y'all saying there only go trying to scare us, there he go fear-mongering, let me go ahead and say, y'all can go to that little reparations rally on, say, November 5th. Y'all ain't getting nothing, not even HR 40. if they control the House and the Senate. Zero. You ain't getting HR 30.
Now, okay. Guys, gotta remember, hold on, and I'm playing all of this for a very important reason. Oh, I'm doing this for a very important reason, y'all. Okay. Now, remember, he said, we can't get nothing. See, that's one of the things that they say. Oh, we gotta have the president be Democrat. We have to have the House be Democrat. And we have to have the Senate be Democrat. We got to have a full sweep. Everybody in government, the Supreme Court, all of them, everybody in government got to be Democrat. Otherwise, the filibuster is going to stop stuff. You got to understand that's not how politics work, right? Now, very interesting. I want you to keep this in mind. Just remember, right now, Donald Trump is the president, red, and the House and Senate are red. Just keep this in mind. While they say they can't do anything for us because we need the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Okay. And right now, the Democrats don't have the House, Senate, or presidency, but illegals are still getting stuff. Okay. All right. Okay. I just want us to understand the standard that we have to meet and the requirements for the government in order for them to do anything for us. It just seems very odd, suspicious maybe, that they don't need all of the stuff that they claim they need to give anything to us. They don't need none of that at all to do crazy stuff for people who are not legally supposed to be here. Okay, all right. Let's continue, though. Let's continue. He's educating us on politics.
39, 40, 41, 42, 45. You can rewrite it all day. You can have Darity. You can have Yvette, Antonio. They can do whatever they want. You will get nothing. Because not one Republican even remotely supports reparations.
Okay. Can I ask you guys a question? Because I think I know the answer, but I want to see if we're on the same page here. How many Republicans support giving illegals cash? I want to know. Because if we can't get nothing, the way he said it, he dug it in. He wants it to seep into your soul. You can't get nothing at all because not a single Republican supports reparations. Okay. Well, how many Republicans support giving illegals cash? Because they getting cash, despite the fact that the Republicans don't want that. Okay. So when it comes to us as foundational Black Americans, the Republicans is just some unstoppable force. They're the damn bodyguards, the gatekeepers of prosperity when it comes to us, and nothing can get through them unless they get the approval. But when it comes to them, even though, keep in mind, even though they're in the White House as the president, as the Senate, as the House, and as the Supreme Court, they still getting cash. Okay. All right. This is what they were doing when we were advocating for reparations. Just keep this in mind. Okay. We got to pull these receipts back up just to understand why we're here right now and why we're saying what we're saying right now.
Then what y'all gonna tweet about? Oh, and lastly, you ain't getting nothing Black specific.
I hate to pause it again. We're not getting nothing Black specific. I mean, I guess that is a little much to ask. It's a little much to ask for anything specific. Maybe that is a little much to ask. Maybe politics just really don't work that way, and maybe we just think that politics work that way because they do for everybody else. But maybe we are tripping. Maybe we're the problem, thinking that the way the government works for everybody else is the same way the government can work for us. Maybe we're the ones who have the, misinformation and delusion as to how the government can operate, seeing as the government can give illegals cash, okay, but they can't give us nothing. Maybe we are the problem, okay? Okay, continue to tell us how if we don't vote for the Democrats, we're not getting anything. And if the Republicans are in office, we're not getting anything. I think that's important for us to understand.
But by all means, don't vote and see what happens. If you're white, black, Latino, Asian, African American, if you're progressive, if you actually care about the future of America for your children, you better defeat every single MAGA-loving Republican who's on the ballot.
Sir.
Yeah.
Because they don't have any love for us.
Better defeat them. Well, he let it be known we not getting nothing. It's just not possible. It can't happen. For us, it can't happen. But, you know, for everybody and their mama, it can. Hold on now. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Y'all heard the news. Y'all heard the news. LA will provide cash assistance to immigrants, illegals, affected by raids. Okay, so Karen Bass is saying, look, man, they're not supposed to be here, but they're affected, quote unquote, by raids. So we're going to give them cash. Let's find out about this. Let's see what's going on. Mayor Karen Bass announced a plan Friday to provide direct cash assistance. Oh wow. I thought that they couldn't do cash. Now what's with all of the they can't do cash? It didn't the task force in LA happen and they was all like, well, reparations don't gotta be cash. Oh, where's all of the reparations don't gotta be cash? Reparations don't gotta be. Where's all of those people at? Where's all of the why you need cash? Where's all of the dollar doesn't mean anything anymore, people? Where are all of the dollar is crashed anyway? Where are all of those people? Where are all of those people? Where are all the people who are saying the dollar doesn't mean anything? Where are all of the people saying, oh, America can't afford cash? Where are all of the people who are saying what they should get is student loan assistance? Where are the student loan assistance people at? Where are the housing assistance people at? Okay. Where is the quote unquote community investment at? Where's all of those people who advocate for that instead of cash payments? Okay. I just want to know. I want to ask them a question. I haven't seen them in a couple of days. So they're going to give direct cash payments to people who have been, quote unquote, affected by the Trump administration's sweeping immigration raids. Okay, so what does that mean? Affected. Okay, affected. They've been affected. Financially affected? Psychologically affected, emotionally affected? Like what is okay, what's the standard of who's being affected and who's not being affected? Okay, it says the aid will be distributed using cash cards with quote a couple hundred, let's just say that couple $100 on them, which should be available in about a week, Bass said to a news conference. I have so many questions. Where is the money coming from? Where is the money coming from? America is broke. Remember, America is broke. It's down bad. America is really down bad. Where's the money coming from? This is bad. They can't just pull money because it's going to cause inflation. They can't just do that. Where's the money don't come from the sky? Where's the money gonna come from? The taxpayers? That's not fair. Where's all of the Ed Blooms and all of that stuff? Who comes up and say this is discrimination? Where's all of the people who are all against woke and affirmative action and what they thought was DEI and all of this? And where's all of the anti-white discrimination people at? Okay, the people, when a black person gets anything at all, they claim that this is white discrimination. Where's all of the advocates for white discrimination at with this case? Is this not discrimination? Okay. All right. I guess it's not discrimination. Okay. I don't know what it is then. I thought it was discrimination. Okay. Because I'm a citizen. I'm, you know, a citizen by way of my people building the country, and I'm not getting anything. So I think this is discrimination. But okay, let's see what the standard is. Let's see what the standard is. Okay. Quote, you have people who don't want to leave their homes, who are not going to work, and they are in need of cash, she said. Okay. So they get okay. So let's just I just want to okay. So these people are not supposed to be here. Okay. They're not supposed to be here. They're here anyway. I guess that's good for them. They're here anyway. They're here because now I want you guys to keep this in mind. They tell us that these people are essential workers, and if these people get deported, the economy is going to fall and the economy is going to crash and it's going to fumble, because these people, remember what they tell us, that these people do the hard work that nobody else is willing to do. Okay, just keep this in mind. Hold on, because we got to pull the receipts up. I gotta remind everybody. That this is what they say. This is what they say. Okay, hold on. Let's go to it. Let's go to it. Hold on now. Remember, they'll tell us that they're doing the jobs that nobody else wants to do. All right.
Perfectly honest, as somebody who practiced criminal defense work, I came to a jail cell.
Now, things ain't been aging that well for everybody's favorite homegirl of Congress, Jasmine Crockett. And she has seen much better days. She's seen better days. Okay. The sexy red imitation is not really working out for her, but remember, she was saying that they were necessary.
To be perfectly honest, as somebody who practiced criminal defense work, I can go into a jail cell. I don't know just yet. I think I'm gonna vote for her. I'm like, okay, well, what's the problem? And he said, well, the trans people.
Hold on, we're gonna skip past that because she advocates for trans a lot.
I had to talk to this brother, and I said, okay. I was like, nah, what you talking about? And so he proceeded to tell me about one of these ads that was running over and over. And so then I explained it to him. I said, let me tell you something. I said, when people go to prison, they always are supposed to have access to their life-saving care, whatever that may be. Enough for those conversations around the country. The point is that I'm trying to make is that they were allowed to divide us. They were allowed to play on people's emotions. And so they were allowed to get you riled up and distracted. And the reason that I bring it up is because that's what they did to win. And right now they are doing everything they can to do the exact same thing. They're getting you riled up emotionally. They are getting you distracted. When at the end of the day, they are hurting all of us. I'm sorry, but there is no excuse for going after Social Security. There is no excuse to go after Medicaid and Medicare. And for my teacher of the year, there is no excuse to go after the Department of Education. So let me be clear. They want y'all to sit here and get riled up and say, well, he done kept the kids from playing with each other. The trans kids, they can't play with the other kids. When have y'all ever looked to the killer? Oh yeah, they was eating the dogs. They was doing that too. They was eating the dogs. They was eating the cats. And then they bringing all the crime to your community as well. So all the rapes, all the robberies, all the thefts, all the gangs, that's who it is. It's the immigrants. It's a lie. Again, they were able to divide us. Because any black person that knows their history should know that at some point in time in history, they looked at us and they acted as if we were less than. They acted as if we were some kind of aliens. They acted as if we had a higher proclivity to commit crimes. They acted as if we were incapable of learning. That's what they did to us. So who are we to sit and say that we're going to do that to somebody else? But if you don't know your history, you just may. So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hand.
Oh, okay. So
You're
ain't
not.
none of us
You're
going
not.
out from.
We done picking cotton.
Oh, okay.
We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
Okay. Oh, she wasn't done. Hold on. She been going on that for a minute. Hold on.
My trans kids. Then I would talk about.
Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. She just keep bringing up trans kids. She start every single segment off advocating for some trans kids. She that's just what she does. So excuse me for that.
In the farms, so that you can afford.
Hold on.
No. Don't do it at the same time. Please tell me, how many of you are sending your kids to college to go and work on the. Okay, well, guess who is working the farms? So that you can afford your food.
So that you can have food.
So that you can have food, right? And I'd say the same thing about, now, how many of you are looking to send your kids into hospitality after this college education so that they can go and make the beds at the hotels? How many of you are planning to send your kids to college? Because that's what we do here. We send everybody to college. How many of you are planning to send your kids to college so that they can then go and build these houses? So the reality is that so long as we live in a capitalist society, there's always going to be someone or a group of people that will do work that some of the rest of y'all don't want to do. It's just the reality. And the beauty of the people that are coming here is that they don't have these opportunities at economic wealth at all.
Okay. Let's go back. Okay. For years, we have been allowing them to come undercut us. They've been coming in, all immigration, all illegal immigration cuts the actual citizens. Okay. It is harmful for the citizens' economy. All right. It's great for big business. It's great for the billionaires and corporations and things like that. But illegal immigration is dangerous, or it's harmful rather, to the economy. Okay. Which is why you have immigration laws. Because if you don't, people will be exploited, and that will help the big business, but that harms the society. For the longest time, they've been telling us, no, it's not like that. They're coming over and they're doing the essential work that America would crash without. They're coming over and they're doing things that you and me, we're not willing to do. We don't want to go out to no farms and picking no strawberries and grabbing no fruit and making up no beds, and we don't want to do none of that stuff, okay? They're the only people who are going to do it. And without them, the economy would crash. We wouldn't know what to do. We'd be lost. The food prices, remember they were saying that food prices of fruit and vegetables would skyrocket. Remember they were saying that? Okay. So going back to the article. All right, Okay. So without them, they said food prices would skyrocket. They need to go to work, right? And then right here, it's saying that Karen Bass is willing to pay people, the same people that they told us the economy would crash without. Karen Bass is saying, I'm paying them for not showing up to work. Let's put this in its proper context, everybody. they're telling us, and they've been telling us, oh, the reason why they're here and the reason why we allow them to come here and bend over backwards and break the rules and break the laws for them to come here is because America needs them oh so much, and they have to show up to work. Otherwise, fruit would go up, vegetables would go up, the hotels would go up, everything would crash, the economy would crash, and be doomsday. They have to show up because they're doing the work nobody's willing to do. Okay. So now these quote unquote essential workers are not showing up, and they're saying it's okay that they don't show up. We're going to pay them for not showing up to work because they're scared. That's their excuse. What happened? I just want to know real quick. What happened to the economy crashing if they don't show up to work? Where are all of the people who are saying that these are the essential workers that the economy needs oh so much, and if they don't show up to work, everything is just going to be a catastrophe. And the economy is going to collapse, Wall Street's going to collapse, meteors is going to start raining down on Earth, and everything's going to be like the Ice Age again after the whole thing with the dinosaurs or whatever. Where are those people at who say that we don't know what we're talking about? We're not willing to farm, but they're willing to farm. Now, they're not going to the farm, but they're still getting paid. Okay. Where are those people at? Let's get back to it, though. I just want to know. I haven't seen them in a couple of days. I just want to know if you guys are okay. That's it. I have a couple questions, but I'm a little concerned. You guys have been very silent for the last couple of days now. Okay. So, yep, she's paying this. It says Bass spoke about a family she met who needed 2 incomes to afford their rent. A lot of people, a lot of foundational Black Americans need multiple incomes to afford their rent and their bills and all of the stuff they need. Karen Bass is not sitting up there like, oh, Black people, are you too scared to go to work? I want y'all to understand, Black people, we have had to deal with damn mass shooters walking to churches, walking up in churches. Okay, we've had to deal with mass shooters walking into grocery stores with the agenda of just gunning Black people down, mass murder. And ain't nobody saying, well, Black people, it's okay to be too scared to go to work. We're gonna pay your rent anyway. Because if we're getting gunned down, they're just getting arrested and sent back. The only people, like I gotta say, the only people who have any legitimate reason to be too scared to leave the house is us. We are the only people who have any, if that is a legitimate excuse, we're the only people who have that. Nobody has that more than us, okay? We're being hunted, literally, okay? Lynched, literally, all right? They're being arrested and deported because they're not supposed to be here. And they say, I'm too scared to go to work, and that's fine. We're going to pay your rent as you stay home. Ain't no coming back. You ain't got to pay it back. We're just going to pay it for you. All right. Okay. All right. Wow. The only people who have an excuse, they be like, I know your grandma was shot by Dylan Roof yesterday, but you still got to get your Black ass to work. I'm sorry. Ain't no hate crime bill, ain't no reparations, ain't no rent paid, ain't no even maternity, ain't none of that. Ain't none of that. Okay. Okay. We'll give you the weekend off. We'll let you get off early Friday, but you need to show up on time Monday. That's what they tell us. Okay. So she's doing that. She's saying the family is concerned they may face eviction. Oh, okay. After one of the breadwinners was detained in an immigration raid, she said the family is concerned they may face eviction. It is not immediately clear what the qualifications will be needed to receive the cards. And I want you guys to understand this. When they say it's not immediately clear, that means they're going to be picking and choosing who they're going to give this to. Okay. So that means that this is going to specifically go to the Hispanics. they're going to be all like, okay, the Hispanics, if you had a Hispanic family, if you claim you have a Hispanic family member who's been arrested, we're going to help pay your rent. If you can claim that they've been assisting. Or now all of the people be all like, there's black immigrants too, and there's black ones too, and there are black immigrants. I can promise you they ain't getting nothing. I can promise you that they not getting nothing. With these vague little terms and qualifications, they do this so they can pick and choose who they give the money to. Well, what about the Afro Latinas? What about the black? And I want you guys to ask them how much money they think they're going to be getting with this. Or if this is going specifically to the white Hispanics that everybody was saying that foundational black Americans need to cape for. All right. We need to fight alongside. Now, are we getting paid? Now, I want to know something. Are we going to, since we're starting to do the black and brown unity thing, since we're starting that back up, are we going to get paid? Because, hey, are we going to get paid? Since this is our problem, remember how they were saying that ICE also affects us too? Remember them saying that? Let me pull up, because they were saying that. I got to pull up the receipts. I know I'm being really long with the article, but I got to pull up the receipts. They were saying that ICE. Hold on. They were saying that it affects us too. It affects us too. Hold on. Let me see. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Standard with. All right. They were calling for unity, and they were saying that it affects us and all of this stuff. Are we going to be deported? Is this gonna hurt us too? Okay, this is all our fight. Remember, they were fear mongering. Remember that. Look at this. Remember this.
Americans were detained. Black Americans were detained. That means they're not going.
Oh, black Americans were detained. We got to pull up the receipts. Okay. So if black Americans are detained, I would love to see the receipts that black Americans are getting some of this money. I would love to see the receipts that, because they were saying foundational black Americans are getting detained. So that is us being affected. Correct? Am I correct or incorrect? So if we're being affected, because they were saying that they're coming for us next. Remember that? They're coming for us next, and they're coming to get us next. So if they're coming for us next and we're being affected, then we should also be getting paid, correct? I think my math is adding up. So we should be getting paid soon, right?
Black Americans were detained. Black Americans were detained. That means they're not going after just people who are illegals, as you want to call them. They're going after whoever they can. Okay? ICE detained American citizens, a military veteran, and one of my colleagues and her son, who is 8 years old. Now, my colleague and her son are Black American citizens. They have Jamaican ancestry. They were detained for over 24 hours. That's how long it took us and lawyers to get them out of ICE detainment. And the son now has extensive trauma. They're going after whoever they can. And the 14th Amendment was an amendment that gave black people birthright citizenship that were descendants of slaves. So if that is repealed and they go after one group, who do you think they're going after next? I'm not sitting anything out.
Oh no. Okay, so they're coming for us next, and you guys have been saying they've been here. They've been coming, and they've been deporting us. Remember, you guys have been gaslighting and fear-mongering for a minute now. Hold on.
Has been suppressed. My videos are not getting out, but this is a warning, and we need to rally together. If you are a person of color, a black person, because this is, again, directly about black people, like, share, comment, boost this to the For You page, because this is serious. Remember how I told you that once they were done focusing on immigrants, they were going to turn on black people? And this is why we should have minded our fucking business and stayed out of it altogether. Trump's Justice Department halts police reform agreement. Why is this a problem for black people? Because that police reform was specifically put in place in 2015 after Freddie Gray was slain, and I'm going to tell you exactly what it means. It's basically made it so that they could keep tabs on police departments for the people that they were unaliving, harming, or being treated unfairly through them. It makes clear that the department will use all appropriate legal authorities to safeguard civil rights and protect the environment. This has to be consistent with long-standing departmental practices informed by the expertise of the department's career workforce. You follow that up with what just happened with Elon Musk doing that salute. I told you guys we were next. Share this, We need to come up with something now. This is not a joke.
Oh, we're next, y'all. Okay, we're next. We're next. That's what they've been saying. So we should be next up on the list for payment, right? We should be next for that too, right? Okay. Because it seems like when it comes to us being next and all of that stuff, and that being the reason we should do that, and now they're looking after them. Now we've been affected and deported. Let them tell it. We've been deported and we've been targeted. Let them tell it. But where's our money then? Because y'all saying that we should be scared of ICE too. So if we're scared of ICE, I want you to understand this. If we're scared of ICE and we're scared of being deported and we don't show up to work, the government should pay our rent because we're also scared of ICE. I'm just letting you guys know how that works. All right. Because they can say, I'm not going to show up to work. They won't lose their job and they will be paid. So I'm saying that should be the same for us, right? That should be how that works for us. Just going to finish this off real quick. Just going to say that she claims that this is not coming from the city coffers. Just going down here. All right. Okay, the mayor emphasizes the money will not come from city coffers, but from philanthropic partners, quote unquote. The cards will be distributed. Now, we don't get none of that. Okay, the cards will be distributed by immigrant rights groups, such as the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights of Los Angeles. All right, let's quote unquote. Now, when it comes to black people, we don't get no philanthropists who just want to donate just for the sake of being a good person. We don't get that. They don't even ask for that when it comes to us. And when we say we sitting out, y'all wonder why we surprised. When we say they're getting stuff that we're not getting, y'all wonder why they're surprised. Okay, y'all wonder why foundational Black Americans don't care and are sitting on the couch. And then the thing is that you guys will give them things and then simultaneously gaslight foundational Black Americans and say that we're xenophobic and we're a hate group and alt-right and all of this stuff and we're misinformed. I want y'all to look at this. They've been making slanderous stuff about FBA in different articles for a little bit now. Okay. This is saying, okay, solidarity amongst ICE and the entire state. Okay, let's, because there's a lot and I want to really, really get down to it. Okay, so looking at, we're going to read the first couple of paragraphs, then we're going to kind of skip down a little bit because I want to get to what they're saying here. It says, the devolution of Black politics has never been so evident and could not happen at a worse moment, while the crisis of legitimacy accelerates and provides opportunities for movement politics. Many Black people have declared themselves to be uninterested in political engagement, or even worse, be in solidarity with state oppression. Social media is replete with examples of Black people declaring that they don't care about genocide in Gaza. No, what we're saying is that that's not a priority. Okay, you're not gonna make other people's issues a priority because you don't even attempt to make our issues a priority to them or even at all, period. So no, our issues are our priority just like their issues is their priority. Okay, thoughts and prayers. And then it says, or the Immigration Customs Enforcement, ICE, has nothing to do with them, or even that they are glad other people are targeted for deportation. It says, the city of Los Angeles, California is now the focal point of resistance. And while there is, quote, Black solidarity within the coalition protesting ICE raids and Donald Trump bringing the National Guard, there is also a strange resistance to the acting in solidarity with those who are specifically targeted in this phase of state. Hold on, let me see what this is. Repression. Okay, sorry. Now I want to skip it down a little bit. Okay, now they're talking about foundational Black Americans. I want to get to this article real quick first. All right, it says, We see black people claiming that their vote for Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or Barack Obama is akin to the movement organizing when nothing could be further from the truth. The claim that black people shouldn't be involved in a fight against genocide or ICE because we all have fought so hard. Often amounts to nothing more than people having voted for a Democrat in a presidential election year. The duopoly confidence game causes people to be angry because they think they're hold on, excuse me, y'all. Something just popped up on my screen. Sorry. Let me start over from that sentence. The duopoly confidence game causes people to be angry because they think that they're quadrental. I don't know how to pronounce. I've practiced. I don't know how to pronounce that, but anyway, trip to the polling place amounts to more than it actually does. It says the lack of historical knowledge is another factor in an encouragement of apathy. Quote, no one helped black people. Why should we care if someone else is deported? They're stealing our jobs. I want you guys to remember that they're claiming, quote, they're stealing our jobs. The prevalence of discredited American descendants of slavery, or ADOS, and foundational Black American ideology leads to hostility, even towards Black immigrants. The sight of mass ICE officers making violent arrests, scrolling that down a little bit, elicits nothing more than a shoulder shrug from the people, from the masses who think their solution is not linked with those being victimized. Okay, it says at the very least one could think the admonishment warning against cutting off someone's nose in order to spite their face would keep in mind black people should know better than anyone that police, whether local or from ICE, are the enemy, and that we should never applaud those actions even if we appear not to be the target. Okay, so we should never applaud the actions even if they appear. I'm sorry, y'all. The font is incredibly small on that thing. The font is clearly incredibly small on that thing. So we're the bad guys. This is what they tell us. We are the bad guys. All right. Now, has ICE and all of that stuff and all of this immigration and all of that stuff, has it affected black people? And is it affected, has it affected us? Actually, it kind of has. It kind of has. I want you guys to look at this real quick.
At 4, nearly 1,500 teachers out at Chicago public schools.
Okay, hold on. Nearly 1,500 teachers are out at Chicago public schools.
New for us here at 4, nearly 1,500 teachers out at Chicago public schools. The layoffs come on the heels of a doomsday budget with a $700 million gap to be filled. But CPS says today's cuts are not related to this year's deficit. CBS News Chicago investigator Dorothy Tucker here now taking a...
The cuts are not related to the deficit at all. That's what you're saying? They're not related. So everywhere you go, these cities who are housing and paying for and subsidizing all of these migrants are making illegal immigrants, keep in mind, are making major cuts. Now the schools are being cut. And none of that is due to the debt that we've accumulated by subsidizing all of the illegals. None of that was what they're saying. These cuts are just coming out of nowhere, okay? So the city doesn't have money, but it's not because the city has been paying up to $1 billion worth of subsidies for illegals. That's what they're saying.
Close look at these cuts, Dorothy.
Well, Joe, as you said, hundreds of teachers, special education assistants, and even parents who help out in the classroom are impacted by these latest cuts. Let me break it down. The layoffs include 432 teachers, members of the Chicago Teachers Union. 123 of them teach special education students. CPS said the number of teachers cut this year is about 50 less than last year. But special education classroom assistants appear to be impacted more this year. In that job position, there were 677 layoffs announced today. They are represented by SEIU Local 73. That union saw only 404 cuts last year. In an interview yesterday, the interim CEO for the Board of Education did indicate the cuts were coming.
We have everything on the table, and what's driving the decision that we will ultimately come to, students first.
CPS insists the cuts are not connected to the deficit. School leaders say it's all part of the annual budget that shifts staff according to school needs.
Still, it's a big number.
It is indeed.
And they still have the work of the budget to do as well, right?
They got a lot of work to do, and
do.
as always, parents are concerned as well. They should be.
Yeah.
I got a great idea. I just thought of it. I literally just thought of it. I just came up with it. I promise you guys. This is not a joke. I literally just came up with it. How about, and I want you guys to stay, y'all can give me your feedback if you guys think this is a good idea or not. How about all of the teachers who've been affected by the layoffs? How about the government pay their rent? Because they've been affected. Follow me, guys. Follow me. They've been affected by the layoffs. All of these public school teachers and everything have been affected by the layoffs. Most of the people who are going to get laid off are black. Let's keep that in mind. How about all of those teachers? How about the government use philanthropist donations to pay their rent? How about that? Okay, because it's not like they're not showing up to work. They just don't have work right now. So instead of them not having work and then they still got bills and stuff like that they have to pay, how about the government say, you know what, because of your hardship and you being affected, because they have proof that they have been affected unjustly. So because they have proof that they've been affected unjustly, how about the government pay their rent? I think that's a great, I just came up with it. Now, I think that could work. You know what I'm saying? Because the government is just so generous like that. I mean, they just so generous and willing to help out like that. I think that because we are being affected by them and by the layoffs, I think that because of that and us being negatively affected, our rent should be paid too, right? Is that fair? Do you guys like that idea? If you guys like that idea, put the money bag emoji in the chat room. I want to do a little survey real quick. I want to see how many people like the idea. I think that that's a great idea. Now, going back to LA, there's been a whole bunch of protests. There's been a lot of protests or whatever the case is. Now, apparently the protests have gotten kind of violent, because now you got quote unquote LA gangs involved or something like that. Now, this was the last video we've seen of the protests going in LA. These are the videos that we've seen in LA.
Your grandma, she's an immigrant, she's getting deported.
Okay, so now apparently we got LA gangs or whatever getting involved in it. So this is what they're saying. Look at this.
They're uniting to protect their communities in Southern California against ICE. ICE doesn't stand a chance against the state of California. As we know, Trump has been targeting the state of California because he is jealous of Gavin Newsom, because Gavin Newsom is everything he wants to be. Obviously, we saw the massive ICE raids and protests that happened last month, but just recently this week, there's been an influx of ICE and the National Guard doing things like going to parks. But yesterday, ICE tried to detain a business owner in downtown Los Angeles. That business owner then locked the ICE agents in his business and did not allow them to leave. And when the community heard of this, the community then barred all police cars from entering the vicinity of that business. ICE
Are y'all kidnapping ICE agents? Is this what y'all do? Y'all bragging about kidnapping federal agents? Is that the move now? Donald Trump is jealous of Gavin Newsom. Why? I don't know, but okay, let's say he is. I guess y'all kidnapping ICE agents. Yeah, he locked them in there, and yeah, they're standing up. What do you think? What do you think would happen if we kidnapped a cop? If a cop came to arrest us and then we locked the cop in the house and barred the doors to prevent other cops from coming in and saving, what do you think would happen if we kidnapped a cop? Just a cop, not a federal agent, but just a local police officer. What do you think would happen if we first off, what do you think would happen if we kidnapped anybody? And then let that person be a cop. And then let that person be a federal agent. What do you think would happen? Do you think people would be bragging about how we're standing up for our right to be here illegally? Okay, so they're kidnapping ICE agents now. Oh, yeah, that's the move. That's the move.
Agents are staying at the Marriott in Pasadena, California. Once this information became known, hundreds of people, if not thousands, went to the Marriott of Pasadena, honking their horns for hours all night so the ICE agents could not sleep. Lastly, our vice mayor asked the gangs of Southern California to step up and help their communities and protect their communities. Now, the last time the gangs united was during the Rodney King riots. And so we've seen that this is possible. But I don't think people really understand the history and the culture of California. California has been wanting to be its own country since before Texas has wanted to be its own country. California is the France of America. Like, if you know how the French riot and protest for everything, that is California. Californians may be disjointed, may have issues with each other, but they stand 10 toes down for each other whenever it is necessary. California, when I moved here, I learned very quickly it's a way of life, it is a culture, it is an ethos, it is a movement. So the fact that ICE has been here for this long and we still see videos of people showing up and fighting them actively is they picked the right state. That's all I gotta say. They picked the right state.
Yeah, you better be careful, because somebody might say that you're enabling criminal behavior. Some might say that you're enabling criminal behavior. That's not the move, dude. Yeah, they're standing up. Oh, they're committing crazy crimes, which is really not the move that you want to make, to say that they're not criminals. When we say they're illegals, they be all like, no, they contribute to society. Okay, and then you say, yeah, and they're also kidnapping people, ICE agents, who are there to deport them. They're locking them. Okay, all right. So this is what we got to deal with. This is what we got to deal with. Now, they're just keep this in mind. They're kidnapping ICE agents, is what he's saying, and they're being paid by the government. Karen Bass is going to give them cash payments. And they got an ICE officer locked in his basement. This is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. They got ICE officers locked in the basement, and they're getting paid by the state to not go to work. Well, they tell us that we don't get no type of money for reparations. We don't get no type of cash payment for you guys. We don't know where the money would come from. You guys are lazy. You guys need to work. All of the stuff that they tell us. Now, we don't have nobody kidnapped, and we are the ones who are actually owed the money, but they'll call us lazy for it. They'll say we're lazy and we're criminals. That's what they'll say. They'll say we need to get back to work. Do you guys remember, speaking of getting back to work, remember the debate? What was it, last year? The debate last year when Donald Trump brought up the fact that they are coming in and they're taking quote unquote black jobs. They're taking black jobs and they're affecting and harming the community. Do you guys remember that?
Caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you.
Okay. So they're taking black jobs. Do you remember he said that? And they were all like, oh no, what's a quote unquote black job? That doesn't exist. And they gassed because they can't really defeat that argument. So what they did is they gaslit. They said, black job? What's a black job? I don't know what's a black job supposed to be. Oh, that's a alt-right MAGA talking point. They're doing the work that nobody else wants to do. They're making it better for everybody. You don't want to go and work a farm. You don't want to go and make a hotel bed. Okay. And they said we were crazy for saying that them coming in was displacing us. They said we were crazy for that. And that was an alt-right conspiracy. Okay. All right then. All right. Now let's go to see what's going on in Mexico. So this is what's going on in Mexico.
Restaurants vandalized while diners take cover inside. These are scenes from the popular Colonia Roma neighborhood of Mexican capital Mexico City, which has been gripped by anti-tourism and gentrification protests. Protesters blame the influx of foreigners, particularly digital nomads from the US, in prominent areas for soaring rents and neighborhood transformations. Demonstrators say that the rent has risen by 47%, forcing locals to move out. Landlords are instead renting out properties to foreigners from wealthy nations.
We are living the consequences of gentrification, which is the government directing its public policies towards people with higher purchasing power, often illegally displacing local populations who have lived in these neighborhoods for 40, 50, and we have documented cases of up to 60 years.
So Mexicans, just to keep this in mind, Mexicans, they're protesting because they don't like immigration either. Because I said in the beginning of the broadcast that immigration, illegal immigration, when big business gets into that, it harms everybody. So in Mexico, they're protesting because they don't want immigration either. And they're feeling like immigration negatively affects and negatively harms them and messes up the job market. It messes up the housing market. It messes them up. So they're out there by the thousands, by tens of thousands out there protesting. Now, when we did that, they said that that's MAGA, that's misinformation, that there's nothing. No, that's not true. They're not displacing anybody. They're not harming anybody. They're out here and they're just trying to live and they're just trying to work. Remember that? Remember that's what they were saying? Oh, but that's happening in Mexico. So are these Mexicans, are these MAGA? Are these alt-right? Do these people believe in misinformation as well? Or are these people being displaced? Okay.
Públicas a personas de mayor nivel adquisitivo.
Since the COVID-19 pandemic, Americans have been increasingly working remotely in Mexico City due to its lower cost of living compared to most US cities. Americans can stay in Mexico for up to 6 months without a visa. According to the US State Department, the numbers of Americans living in Mexico jumped 70% between 2019 and 2022 and has continued to grow to a total of 1.6 million. Not all locals want the digital nomads to leave. Those in the hospitality sector fear income loss if tourism declines.
They are demonstrating, but why do you have to come covered up? Why do you have to cause destruction? The economy here relies heavily on the spending of foreign visitors.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum slammed the protest as xenophobic while acknowledging some of the demonstrators' demand as legitimate.
Todas y todos los seres humanos somos iguales.
All human beings are equal, and we cannot treat anyone as lesser. The xenophobic displays of this demonstration need to be condemned.
Hay que condenarlas.
In 2022, when she was Mexico City mayor, Sheinbaum signed an agreement with Airbnb and UNESCO to boost local tourism. The protests have also led to criticism of the government over its failure to regulate the housing market. The Economic Brief, DD India.
Oh, so it destroys and harms their economy. So that's the reason, because it harms their economy. And they're out here protesting the same thing that they will tell you. The same thing they will tell you. It's not. No, it doesn't harm the economy whatsoever. That's not true. That's a lie. It's a lie that it harms the economy. It's incorrect, and you guys shouldn't believe it. And if you guys do believe it, then it's an alt-right MAGA conspiracy. That's what they'll say. It's an alt-right MAGA conspiracy. You guys should never believe that. Okay. And I keep wondering, all of this disproportionate, this thing, it seems like you got a soft spot, Karen. Karen, it seems like Karen Bass has a soft spot for illegal immigrants. I mean, giving them cash payments because they've been affected. Now, my thing is that I'm just wondering why it seems like you're just so biased. And then did a little bit of digging. Doesn't take that much. Does a little bit of digging. I found out something that I thought was very interesting. If this thing would pull up. Okay, hold on. Get this thing together. This thing acting like it don't want to work now. No, it's acting like it don't want to work. Okay. So pull this up. I'm just going to work with it. I'm just going to work with what we got. Yo, believe this. So it did a little bit of digging. Doesn't take that much. Found out Karen Bass's husband. Okay, this is Karen Bass. Hold on. This is the same Karen Bass. It's not a different Karen Bass. This is the same Karen Bass. All right. So this is Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles. Going back to it, her husband is Jesus Lachinga. If I'm mispronouncing it, really don't care. Oh, so this is starting to make a little bit of sense. So Karen Bass is married to a Hispanic man. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so let me ask you guys a question. Oh, it's pronounced Jesus? Well, whatever. I said I was going to mispronounce his name anyway, so you guys already know. Is his family affected by ICE? Is his family affected by ICE? Because, follow me, y'all. Because if his family is affected by ICE, then that means Karen Bass is affected by ICE. So if the qualifications for receiving money is you being affected by ICE, and he's Hispanic, and he says, I'm emotionally affected, because the qualifications are vague. If he's emotionally affected by ICE, then he's going to get money. So the money that she's approving to go to people who are quote unquote affected by ICE is going to circle back to her, because in that way, she is affected by ICE, right? So all he has to say is my abuela, my grandpapi, he's been deported, or they're afraid to go to work. Her husband, what does her husband do? Is her husband not afraid to go to work because of ICE, because he might be targeted? So if her husband is afraid to go to work because he is targeted, that means the house's income is lower than it was then. So that means Karen Bass, I want you guys to think about this. That means all of this money that Karen Bass has just approved, she is now qualified for. Now, Karen Bass is now qualified for the money that she's just approved for illegal immigrants. So that's why, because this is a financial benefit for her. And what's very interesting about this is that even if she doesn't dip in this, where are all of the other politicians to say boo about this? Remember, Gavin Newsom said he didn't agree with cash payment reparations. Gavin Newsom, where's Gavin Newsom now? Gavin Newsom, I thought you were against cash payments. Where's the Congressional Black Caucus of California? Where's the Congressional Black Caucus who sat there and killed our reparations bill? Where are those people who sat there and let our reparations bill die? Where are those people? Okay. Okay. So I think that that's very interesting how this thing comes full circle. Where are all of those people who are saying that we can't get anything? Okay, I think that's very interesting now, because I remember Roland Martin, I remember you saying that we weren't going to get anything whatsoever, that we can't get nothing. There's no reparations coming our way. We got to vote and make sure that they all get in, they all stay in. And this is the black and brown solidarity, but we're not getting no black and brown money. The money is all going to the quote unquote brown, and we're being misplaced by their presence here. Now they're protesting in Mexico, making sure that we don't show up. They don't want us to show up in Mexico. So and the news is not really playing that. You got to go to foreign news sources, because the local news, CNN, MSNBC, they're not going to show you that, because that defeats their black and brown narrative. So you got to go to the foreign news publications to see that they're not even trying to have you there. They don't want you to be there. That's what they're showing. That's what they're doing. Okay. All right. So this is what we have here, y'all. This is what we're doing. You know what's funny is that things like this don't tend to age that well. Follow me, y'all. Things like this don't tend to age that well. The midterms is coming up closer than what they would need to recover from this. You still have black people who are in Los Angeles who are negatively affected by the wildfires that happened not long ago. They're not getting no money. They're not getting their stuff paid. Black people who have to go through natural disasters and things like that, they're not getting money. They're not getting their stuff paid. They're not getting nothing. Okay. So around midterms, I want you guys to ask, why should we vote for them again? What are they doing for us again? Okay. Where's our money? Because this is the same government under the same Trump administration that is saying that they're getting rid of DEI and all of the stuff about black people is being taken down and we need to band together, and there's nothing that they can do. See, they're playing this game as, oh, there's nothing that they can do. What they wanted to do is they wanted to wait until the midterms and say there's nothing that they can do unless they get voted into office, and we need to vote them into office to reverse all of the damage that Trump is doing to black people. But in the meantime, they're making sure they stayed paid up. they're making sure that they stay papered up, because what this is doing is this is helping the buffer class. This is helping the immigrant buffer class. All right. Because if they can't go to work, then they will go home. But they don't want them to go home. What they want to do is they want to replace the black vote. This is something that they've been doing for the longest time. They want them to come and replace the black vote. And what they feel like is that Trump's immigration and all of the ICE, that's scaring off, because reports that some of the people are actually self-deporting. There, I don't know if you guys have seen those reports. Some of the people are actually self-deporting. A lot of people don't want to be deported by ICE and sit into an ICE camp. Nobody wants this to go on. So what they're saying is, well, we don't want them to self-deport. We don't want them to go away. We need them to stay here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have them, they're going to get out, they're going to protest, they're going to be all mad and upset and everything like that. But we're going to show them that the government has their back. Because I want you guys to understand, Karen Bass couldn't do this by herself, even if she was getting paid or whatever. And I'm sure she probably is benefiting this a little bit, but there's a whole lot of people. Who are these other people who are benefiting? Everybody else has an agenda with this. She's not doing this by herself. So they're thinking that in order to keep them here, despite the fact that they're being deported by mass ICE, in order to keep them here, we are going to have them stay put up in their house. But if they're put up in their house, how's their bills going to get paid? So what they're going to do is they're going to pay their bills for how long? They don't know. They're going to pay their bills until long enough for them to get more seats in the administration. They're going to pay their bills long enough for them to come back and them to kind of regroup. And what the hope is that the Hispanic community will remember in good faith what the government, what the Democrats have done for them. And they will repay the favor by this time not voting for Trump, but by this time voting for the Democrats. So all of this is to maintain the buffer class. What they're trying to do is empower the illegal buffer class. That's what they're trying to do. They're all like, now we can't have you guys go away, because then we're going to have to deal with specifically foundational Black Americans and what we owe them. We need this buffer class for a multitude of reasons. So if you guys can't come to work, and if you guys are self-deporting because ICE is sitting up there cracking down, ICE is at the damn car wash, ICE is at the damn construction site, ICE is at the damn farms, ICE is at the schools, ICE is everywhere. ICE is at the auto mechanic shop, and ICE is coming, and they just come and grabbing folks. And if ICE is cracking down, that means you guys can't go to work. So that's fine that you guys can't go to work. I'm going to pay you to stay home. They're getting paid to stay home. You don't see none of the Democrats upset about this. Roland Martin, what do you have to say about this, Roland? I checked. Roland Martin had nothing to say about this. I would wonder, what do you think Roland Martin would have to say about the fact that these people are being paid for, quote unquote, being affected and to stay home? Now, these are not people, keep in mind, these are not people who are, quote unquote, wrongly detained or wrongly deported. These are people whose families are saying, well, my family has been negatively affected by one of the members of my family staying home. So they're getting paid. Roland Martin has been very quiet about that. Roland Martin hasn't had anything to say. Roland Martin hasn't had anything to say. Oh. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. That's very interesting. All right then. You want to know why else we are not sitting up there caping for immigrants like that. Not only are they getting paid, they're sitting up here, they're committing all, they say they're not dangerous. I want you to leave with this. Let me leave you guys with this real fast, okay? This just happened. This is a story that just broke. While they're coming over here, they're not dangerous criminals, and they're just innocent families who are trying to make a living and trying to do the best they can. Okay, I want you guys to look at this real fast.
Sector Border Patrol Chief. He served as senior advisor to RFK Jr. in the first 100 days, working specifically on issues surrounding immigration and unaccompanied children at the border. Chris, thank you very much. It's good to have you here today. So, I want to ask you about these reports of, we watched the scene, very violent scene, really, at these marijuana farms, and we saw that the ICE vehicles were pelted with rocks, that people stood in front of the vehicles. In some cases, they tried to prevent the vehicles from moving. But with regard to this other piece of information, that there were at least 10 minors who were working at this site, it's getting downplayed by some. How significant is that?
So I want you guys to understand, these are not just people who are working illegally. They have children working illegally. These are people who are having children do slave labor, while we need to cape for the government to allow them to stay here and continue doing this. This is child labor right here.
And the company says we don't hire minors.
Well, first of all, out of respect for you and the audience, I'll keep my comments PG based on what we saw and what I know about these assaults against these federal agents. It's disgusting. It's reprehensible. And I tell you what, there's so many things I see in there that could have led to a deadly force incident. It's unimaginable, but it'll probably get worse before it gets better. In regards to the kids, this is exactly what the Trump administration has been doing. This is what he championed that he was going to do. This was part of his immigration enforcement strategy. It's exactly what I did, and that great team I had working with me that are still working at HHS to help these leads and help these agencies find these kids. And again, there was close to a dozen or maybe more unaccompanied children working in a cannabis plant. I mean, that is putting kids in harm's way. We don't know the details yet, but I can tell you that cases of labor trafficking and child
Okay, where were all of the people who are talking about you can't separate the kids from their families? You can't separate the kids from their families. Where are all of the people who talk about who are family oriented when it comes to the illegals? Where are all of the family oriented people? What do they have to say about this? There are children working in weed farms. This is cannabis. When they say that, that's weed. All right. For all of the PG folk out there. There are children working with marijuana. 14, and that's the ones that they've caught so far. Okay. All of this going on. And they'll talk about how they don't want to deport or separate children from families, but they don't have a problem with the children working at illegally working at a cannabis plantation. Okay, they don't have a problem with that.
exploitation just like this. There's plenty of them, but this is a great first start, and I'm glad that you're talking about it, and I'm glad that this is getting out there, because people need to understand that this administration is working hard to rescue these kids and get them out of these situations.
Yeah, I mean, we know that so many children were brought across the border, in many cases by cartels. Then in many cases, and you correct me if I'm saying anything that doesn't line up with what you understand here, these kids are forced to pay off the cartel for bringing them across the border by working in what many would consider to be, child labor environments. And if they try to run away, they're going to grab them and force them back to work. Am I correct? Incorrect?
No, you're correct. Whether it's a kid or anybody coming across the border, nobody crosses the border illegally without going through the cartel, and they make some kind of arrangements. And it's just even worse when it's the kid.
So these are children who, if they cross the border, they have to work at like some type of plantation, some type of work illegally. And if they try to run away, they essentially have modern day slave catchers coming and grabbing them and forcing them back on the weed plantation. But we're the bad guy for saying all of this should stop. We're the bad guy by saying we need stricter borders. That we're the bad guy. They're not the bad guy. They have cartels shipping children in, and I can promise you it gets a lot. The payback that the children have to go through, we got to keep things PG right now, but I'm guaranteeing you this right now, the payback that these children have to give the cartel is a lot worse, much worse than working at a cannabis plant. The payback it goes way deeper than just working at a cannabis plant. Use your imagination, because these people who are trafficking children, they want a little bit more than you just working at a farm. They want a little bit more than that. Just use your imagination as to what they could possibly be asking for. Okay. Needs to play. Okay. Tripping a little bit.
No, you're correct. Whether it's a kid or anybody coming across the border, nobody crosses the border illegally without going through the cartel, and they make some kind of arrangements. And it's just even worse when it's the kids, because sometimes they're working off somebody else's debt and they can't escape. They're being trafficked. They don't have decision-making ability when they're dealing with adults and the cartel members. So this, again, is a prime example of the horrors that has happened, that has been put to an end under this Trump administration.
Yeah, real quick, Chris, what did you make of Gavin Newsom going after J.D. Vance and his family for visiting Disney World and saying, have fun with your family? The families that you're tearing apart certainly won't.
Did we expect anything else from that governor? I mean, he's all about virtual signaling, gaslighting, and ignoring the problem. What about the kids that are being exploited in his very own state? I'm glad that the vice president was able to have a vacation, take care of his family, and look out for his kids. But you know what? You can protect your own kids if you don't exploit them and don't put them in the hands of cartels and enter the United States illegally, knowing that there's going to be consequences.
All right.
Okay. All right, then. I want you to understand, we're not the bad guy at all. Nothing at all that we're saying is wrong. Nothing at all that we're saying is wrong. They talk about us tearing families apart, but they don't want to mention the fact that they have children illegally working there. And this has been going on for generations. This is something that is very well known. This is something, and it gets a lot. I'm trying to tell you guys without letting it be known. It gets a lot worse than, you just working at a factory. It gets a lot worse than that. Okay. But this is what they do. And they'll say, when we say, okay, well, we need stricter borders, we need to crack down on the cartels shipping people in illegally, they'll say we're the bad guy. They'll say, if we say that immigration negatively affects us at all, and in any point in time, they'll say that we're the bad guys for saying that. They'll say we're the bad guys for saying that. Now, when Mexicans do it and they don't want immigration in Mexico, they don't want American citizens coming to Mexico because that adds to the gentrification and the displacement of the Mexican natives. They're not bad, but we're bad. Okay, which is why you're not going to see that on CNN. You're not going to see that on ABC, MSNBC. You're not going to see that there. That's why you got to go to the international news stations that are going to tell you that, because they don't want you to know that. They tell us that we can't get anything, that their hands are tied behind their back and there's just nothing they can do. They need the House, the Senate, the president, all to be Democrat. They need the Supreme Court, all of them to be Democrat. They need all of the federal judges to be Democrat. They need every single person in any political position to be Democrat for us to have the conversation of a vote, to have a study of the recommendations for reparations. All right. That's the only way it works. That's the only way. Don't even ask for anything else, because that's how politics work, right? They need all of that stuff. Otherwise, the filibuster is going to come down and they're going to tell you you can't do it. But Karen Bass said, you know what? We don't need none of that. We don't need none of that. Straight to cash. No study necessary. We don't need to do a study. It's not going to destroy the economy. Can we do something for a specific group of people? Hell yeah. Is this discrimination? Doesn't matter. Is this a handout? Doesn't matter. All of the stuff that we get told as to why we can't get reparations. How do we know if somebody's been affected? No, don't worry. We'll be the ones who pick and choose who gets affected. Oh, but we can't get nothing. That's fine. Fine. Okay. See, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, but you expect a different result. So you guys have been caping for them. You guys have been allowing them to come in. You guys have been allowing them to commit crimes. You've been allowing them to displace black people. You guys have been allowing them to do that. And the Biden-Harris administration, they've been subsidizing them, and they've had the support of all of the damn Democrats. They've had the support, damn sure, of Brandon Johnson. They've had the support of Karen Bass. They've had the support of Eric Adams up until recently when they tried to get him. They've had the support of all of them. And then what happened? The Hispanics turned around and said, we're voting for Donald Trump. They thought that they were going to build all of that stuff up and they were going to get some brownie points from the Hispanics who turned around and said, my vote is for Donald J. Trump. And then what they said is, okay, well, we did all of that and we went into debt of billions of dollars across multiple cities, making sure we took care of them, and they turned around and voted for Donald Trump. So what the smartest thing to do is, we should do it again and expect them to change their mind this time. So maybe we didn't give them enough money. That I think that's what they think. I think that maybe they think that if they give them more money this time, that they're going to change their mind and they're going to vote for the Democrats come midterms, the ones who can vote. They're going to change the community. And all of this, they want to replace the black vote. They want to keep their buffer class strong. All right. They want to keep their illegal labor. You see all of this illegal labor that they got going on. They want to keep all of the illegal child labor that they got going on. Is Jasmine, where you at? Jasmine, are you going to tell us why you saying that they're essential workers? Do you mean the children? Well, they're saying ain't nobody going out and they're picking strawberries. Do you mean the children who are being forced to do that by the cartel? Now, you left that part out while you were advocating for the trans children. You left that part out where you were talking about how the children are out there working the farms. Now, you say ain't nobody want to work the farms. I don't think the kids want to either, but they're being kidnapped and forced to work the farms by somebody else's will. By the cartel, by the cartel's wishes. While you want to talk about, hey, y'all don't want to pick it. Well, neither do the damn kids, but they're being forced to. But we're the bad guys. We're the bad guys, right? Okay. All right. Appreciate the super chat. Let me get to the super chat from David, my brother David. He says, appreciate my brother David. I'm from California and he's lying. Yeah. You're from California and he's lying. Who specified that, David? Who is he? Am I lying? Who are you talking about as lying? Oh, you must be talking about the one dude who said that they're kidnapping ICE agents and doing all of that stuff. Oh, this guy.
Are uniting to protect their communities.
The gangs are uniting to protect the community. Oh, you're talking about that. Okay. I have heard reports that they are doing very illegal stuff, and I've seen actual videos. Are they kidnapping people? Probably not, maybe. Not to the degree he's bragging about, but they're doing very illegal stuff. They're doing very illegal things that we would never get away with. We would never get away with some of the half of the stuff they're doing. Maybe they're not all teaming up and ganging up and doing all of this stuff, but I've actually seen videos. That there are gangs. I've seen videos. They are doing stuff. I can't show you the videos because of the, violence that's in the videos. Okay. I can't show you that, but yeah, they're doing stuff. They're doing stuff. But this is what they say. Thanks for the super chat, though. This is what they're saying. But I want you guys to understand all of this stuff is fine, because what you're doing right here, what we're doing, all of this, we're documenting. This is documentation. This is documentation. So next time they tell us, well, there's nothing we can do. We need the House. We need the Senate. We need the presidency. You need to get all of the MAGA people out because the Republicans don't support reparations. The Republicans don't support cash payments for illegals, but they still get it anyway. Okay. I don't want to hear at this point forward, never again do I ever want to hear them talk about how we can't get anything because the Republicans are going to stop it. I don't ever want to hear that again. I don't ever want to hear that one group of people can't get anything specifically for. I don't ever want to hear that again. I don't ever want to hear them say, well, we don't know where the money's going to come from and we can't give out cash. I don't ever want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I don't see too many people calling this a handout. I don't want to hear them calling us lazy, because remember, the Hispanics, the ones who are asking us to team up with them, these same Hispanics, and I got to keep reminding you guys, as they're getting paid to stay home because they're scared of going to work, they were the ones calling us lazy.
You working. No more money for you. Bye-bye. Go back. No more money for you. It's lazy. You lazy.
Oh, we're lazy. We're lazy. No more money for you. We're lazy, as the damn LA government is paying their rent. They're paying the rent and bills of illegal immigrants, as they're sitting up there, got the gall and the audacity to call us lazy. We don't get our rent paid by the government. You get it. I don't even care. You got food stamps, Section 8 assistance and stuff. You still got to work. You still got to get up and pay something. You ain't just sitting up there getting your stuff paid for no reason because you don't want to get up and go to work. You still don't get that, but they got the audacity to come over here and call us lazy. Don't you ever let nobody tell you that these are the harder working people. Don't you ever let anybody fix their mouth to tell you that these people work harder than anybody else. And these people, quote unquote, get it out the mud. I thought that your family came over here with $5 and they made it get out. They made it out the trenches with some $5 in grit and determination. It seems like they say when the going gets tough, the tough get going. But with them, when the going gets tough, here comes the government to pay their rent.
Working. No more money for you. Bye-bye. Go back. No more money for you. It's lazy. You lazy.
It's lazy. You lazy. And this is what we should be protesting for. This right here is what we're supposed to be protesting for. We're supposed to be protesting for this. We're supposed to be fighting for them. For people who will sit up here and block our reparations, calling us lazy, saying we don't get no more money. But when they are it's not like their job has been taken away from us. Our job has, as the Chicago school teachers, that their job is taken away from them because the government has decided to prioritize illegal immigrants over them. Okay. So they lose their job. They got to find another way to pay rent. Okay. You got people who didn't lose their job, but they're just too afraid to go to work, and they get their rent paid because they're afraid to go to work, or they're dealing with hardship. They're dealing with difficulties paying their rent, and the government says, you just need to ask. I got you. And here you go. Here you go. You want cash? I'm not gonna just pay the landlord. I'm gonna give you the money, and you do whatever you want to do with it. You know what I'm saying? So if you claim that you're a down bad, we're just gonna give you money, and you just, do whatever you want to do with it. And they will come over here and call us lazy, and we got to protest for them. Otherwise, we're the villains. Okay. Well, if that makes me a villain, then I guess I'm a villain then. If that makes me a villain, call me Dr. Doom, call me Darth Vader, call me whoever you want to call me. I'm Thanos, I'm whoever. Call me what you want to call me. If me not saving them and protesting for them and having this black and brown solidarity, if that makes me the villain, call me a villain then. I'm whatever it needs. I'm a villain. Okay. If that makes me that, then fine. Because I don't see nobody being called a villain for not helping us. They call us lazy. They're the ones attacking us. They're the ones harming us. They're the ones committing crimes and displacing us out of our neighborhoods, and they don't get called the villain. But us not being the Avengers to save them makes us the villain. Okay. All right, I'm a part of the Legion of Doom then. I'm Lex Luthor, I'm the Joker, I guess. I'm talking about villain, but I'm a villain. If that's the standard, if that's what makes you a villain, then let me dye my hair green and start giggling and laughing like the damn Joker. Like Kamala Harris, actually. Let me do that. Because she got a great Joker laugh. If only there is like a female Joker in another DC thing. All the comic book heads know what I'm talking about. But let me start get my Kamala Harris cackle on. Start laughing and giggling. Okay. I'm the Green Goblin. We're a part of the Legion of Doom. Okay. In the X-Men, what they call it, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants or whatever they call it. We're villains. And that's fine. That's fine. Because ain't nobody coming to be heroes for us. We're the villains because people act like we owe them something. And they're gaslighting like we owe them something. And if we don't, I guess, return some type of debt, everybody feels that we owe them, then we're villains. Because for whatever reason, we are the only people in the world who are just indebted to everybody else's cause. And everybody else just gets to pick up the phone and call for backup. And here we come running to the rescue. And if we don't run to the rescue like we're supposed to, we're villains. Now, when we pick up the phone is ain't nobody picking up the phone. We picking up the phone, it's going straight to voicemail. Okay, we text them, we get a text, we blocked. They text, you blocked, you lazy nigga. Do not text me again. Okay. And we the villains? Okay. I'm Magneto. I will be Magneto then if I'm the villain. If I'm the villain, let me be Magneto. Okay. If I'm the villain, let me do that. We gonna be we the Joker, we Darth Vader, we Magneto, we Megatron. I don't care who we villains. We are name a villain, we the villain. And that's fine. Okay. We can be the villain because ain't nobody being a hero for us. If us being our own heroes make us a villain to you guys, okay, fine. We need y'all to get out of here anyway and take your damn child labor issue. We need to get rid of that. I guess ending the whole child labor ring thing makes us the bad guy. Okay, fine. Somebody say we Galactus, we Thanos. Okay, I don't know. We look. Don't call us what you want. Call us what you want. Okay. If we the villain, I'm Killmonger then. I'm a Killmonger. That's the type of villain I want to be. I want to be a Killmonger. Okay. You call me Killmonger. I'm gonna take over Wakanda. I'm gonna make it the way it's supposed to be. All right. That's what I'm gonna be. Sit up there. If I'm not the only, if we're all villains, because we are saving ourselves and looking for ourselves, put a black fist. I just want to see how many villains we have here since we're the bad guys and we're the villains. Okay, because that article is saying that we're xenophobic and all of that stuff. So if we're bad, I want to see how many other people are like me. I want to see how big the Legion of Doom is. Okay, since we're bad. Okay, let's see how big the damn Legion of Doom is. The Legion of Doom seems pretty big. It seems pretty big. I'm seeing a whole bunch of people bring up different villains' names. You bringing up who is those? Black Mamba. I mean, we everybody. We Indian everybody. We bring it up. We all of the villains. We Ultron. We everybody. Okay. Hell, I don't know. We Browser from the Mario Brothers. We look. Okay. What's that one Sonic villain? We Mr. Eggman. Look, man, we can be everybody. You can't gaslight me. You cannot gaslight me. I will be the tallest. I will be Thanos. I will be look, man. Who you think you're talking about? Who you think you're talking to? We the Red Hulk. We are super villains. We are super villains. We Skeletor. We the Shredder from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You cannot look. We are villains. Okay, because that's what makes us a villain. We're not scared to be that, because what they're used to, and what I'm saying is what they're used to is they're used to us feeling like if we don't do this, it's like a stain on us morally. That we have some obligation to save everybody because we should understand how everybody else, quote unquote, feels, even though nobody else has to feel that way. So we should understand that. So if we don't do that, it's a reflection on how we're bad. We're bad for not standing with them. We're bad for not fighting with people who call us lazy and attack our children. Okay, and displace us, literally displace us, block our reparations. Let's pull up the things, okay? Because they have not been. Because we're villains for not protesting alongside people who are literally sabotaging reparations for us. Okay, hold on. Remember,
consultants from the task force reported the total amount could be as much as 800 billion. 800 billion. That's 2.5 times the size of our entire state budget. To pay for that, you'd need a major tax hike, unlike anything this state has ever seen before. I recognize and acknowledge the painful part of our history. The pains of our past should not be paid by the people of today. The majority of our state is Latino and Asian, making up 55% of our population. Most of them, like me, are first, second, or third generation immigrants who had nothing to do with slavery, discrimination, Jim Crow laws, nothing. It is fundamentally unfair to force these people to pay for this, and because of that, I will be opposing it.
Oh. She's gonna be opposing. She's gonna be opposing. She's gonna be opposing. Okay. Remember the government also, and all of this is in California. Keep in mind, all of this is in California.
Folks like with that's going. He did call me. He wants to have breakfast with me.
What's taking him so long?
I haven't. I just said, hey, we need to talk.
You supported him from the.
All right, don't worry, I got you. So you'll start seeing them line up. Isaac was the first.
Oh, so F that boy, he's with the blacks, calling black children racial slurs and all of that, just terrified. So we're the villains. Okay. For not caping for people who do this. I want you guys to take a good look at this image right here, okay? While people are trying to gaslight us into fighting for their cause, fighting for a cause that doesn't benefit us, fighting for a people that doesn't benefit us, fighting for a people that literally has hostility towards us and our children, and they call us the villain. These are the people who say, well, you need to overlook George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin. You need to let bygones be bygones. That happened. It was a while ago. Yeah, they have a few super anti-black bigoted apples, but we got to overlook that for the greater cause of solidarity. And if we don't overlook what happened to the Trayvon Martins and many other Trayvon Martins, then we're the villains. look, fine. We can be that. We can be that. Because you guys let him walk like he was a hero. Y'all called him a hero, actually. Do you guys remember that? We're the villains. They paid him handsomely and called him a hero, a patriot who stood up for his right to murder a kid just because he's black. They didn't call him a villain. They're not treating him like a villain, but they're treating us like a villain. He's still around, scot-free, living his life, doing what he do. They don't treat him like a villain, but they'll treat you like a villain for not showing up to a protest for racists just like him. For people who hate black people just like him. They'll call you the villain for that. They'll call you the villain for that. Okay. Okay, that's okay. That's how they feel. They'll call you the villain for that. And if that's what makes me a villain, I'm fine with that. If not saving his ass and people who are like him in the community that is like him that will call us lazy and then attack our children, if that makes us a villain, I'm fine. Okay, maybe we just need to embrace that. Because maybe the villain to them is the hero to us. And if the villain to them is our hero, then let us be that. Let us be heroes to ourselves first. Even if that makes us the villain to them, let us be that. Because they're the only real villains when you actually look at anything. They're the real villains. So let us be the hero to ourselves then and mind our business and keep track of the fact that they're funding. The villains are the ones who always got the big mansions and the big super rich skyscrapers and stuff like that. Really, for the most part, it's the villains who get funded and who use all of this illegal labor and stuff like that. It seems to me like they're the villains. So if they're the villains, then we're the heroes then. But okay, y'all call us the villains all y'all want to. It's not going to change nothing. It's not going to change nothing. Because to me, we are our heroes. And that's all that matters. Okay. Let me get to the super chat. Shout out to Prince. Appreciate Prince. It says Prince Majestic. Okay. Says, thank you for keeping us informed. Afro Elite, my brother, FBA Pride. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your support too. And then Chris the Rebel says delineation is like blood to our heart. It's vital. It is. It is. It is. And if we don't do it, if we don't keep up this energy, if we go back to how we were before, that's it. It's game over. It's game over. We did what we did right when we needed to. Everything we're doing right now is right when we need it. Right when we need to. All right. So don't let anybody tell you differently. What we're doing is what we are supposed to be doing. They'll gaslight you. They'll act like you're wrong. But as long as you're the hero to your people, you're the real hero. Let them call you a villain. It's okay. It's okay. Because they're not going to pay your rent. They're paying theirs. That's all I get to say about that. Family, I appreciate every single last one of y'all for being here. You know, the Legion of Doom. I appreciate y'all. I really do. I really do. And I appreciate it if you guys hit that like button. That's what I really, really would appreciate. Y'all hit that like button. Y'all hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Y'all make sure y'all do that. Hit all of that stuff. Hit all the notification bell. If you don't get the notifications, you can follow me on the social media platforms. The link is in the description below. I appreciate all of you all for being the real heroes of the story. That's what I appreciate. Okay? Because they'll tell us we're the villains, but we always the ones saving the day. If we're the villains, why is everybody asking us to save the day? That's what I want to know. So we saved the day. But now, for the first time ever, we're saving the day for ourselves. And we're not going to sit up there and fight for the villain. We're saving the day for ourselves. And I'm glad that we're finally learning to do that. So I appreciate every single last one of you guys, my brothers and my sisters, the real heroes, okay, my exceptional people. Thank you guys for being the real heroes. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for liking. Thank you guys for subscribing. If you guys didn't, now is your chance. If you like content like this, we got a lot of good stuff coming up this week. I also want to give a special thank you guys because For the Culture has just reached over 6,000 subscribers. It was only like a few weeks ago we just reached 5,000. Now we got 6,000 subscribers. Okay. We doubled our subscribers in a matter of a couple months, because a couple months ago we just had 3. Now we have 6. So in a couple months we doubled the subscription on For the Culture. Y'all can only imagine we still got a good 6-something months left in the year. So you can only imagine that. So y'all need to make sure y'all go there, because we got great content on that channel and coming up soon for you guys. And I appreciate you guys tremendously for it. Thank you guys. All right. Now, with that being said, family, be one to you, my heroes, my brothers and sisters, and you all have a good one. Y'all stay blessed.